we've all talked about how the policies are in place. The center has been able to, notify a number of policies. But a lot of our states have actually also been ahead of the center sometimes in, notifying policies and also doing a lot of stuff which is being institutionalized only now. And I think this panel would be a great way to end this conference to really hear from state governments what they are trying to do and also some of the things that they plan to do in the future and what they're doing to actually boost the industry as well. I'd like to first and foremost invite Mr. Ravi Saxena, who is Additional Chief Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Government of Gujarat. I know to a lot of people he doesn't need an introduction because Gujarat has been way ahead of many other states in terms of the use of IT as well as also development of industries. Welcome, sir. He'll be our chair for the evening. I'd like to now invite Mr. K.S. Sreenivas, who is the Secretary, Department of Industries and Commerce, Government of Kerala, to join us on stage, please. And I think interestingly, Mr. Sreenivas was just telling me that he was the first person in his district to implement the e-district project, and also the kind of problems he had, I think would be great to hear about how people do things differently to make things happen. I'd now like to call Mr. L.K. Tiwari, who is the additional C.G.M. MP State Electronics Development Corporation, Government of Madhya Pradesh. Welcome, sir. I'd like to invite Ms. Vandana Srivastav, who is Additional Director and Nodal Officer, the Modified Special Incentive Scheme at the Department of Electronics and IT, Government of India. Welcome. I'd like to invite Mr. P.V. Rao, who is the Consultant at the Department of IT and Communications, Government of Andhra Pradesh. Welcome, sir. I think in the presence of Mr. Saxena, I will completely do away with any introductory comments because I'm sure we have a panel which is in very good hands. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Preeti. Today it appears I belong more to 9.9 media than Gujarat. I've been here yesterday, I'm here today. And for that reason, I think I should talk less of Gujarat and more of other states. So I think this is the penultimate session. Do I need to introduce the participants? Mr. K. Sreenivas, an IS officer of 1997 batch, Kerala Kada. And he has been District Collector, Kannur Palakkad, Managing Director, Kerala Minerals and Metals, Special Secretaries, Industries Department, Health and Medical Education, presently Secretary, Department of Industries and Commerce, Government of Kerala. Mr. Tiwari, MP, Additional C.G.M, MP State Electronics Development Corporation. Mr. P.V. Rao, he is, I think, the principal consultant of the state emission team of the Government of Andhra Pradesh. This is basically, many of them would know, the state emission team is a gift of National Institute of Smart Governance to the state governments, and by virtue of that, states also have started talking technology. So Mr. P.V. Rao is like that. Vandana is representing the Government of India, and she is the key person behind the electronic revolution. So basically MCIPS is at the heart of the electronics revolution that is going to sweep this country, because MCIPS is, everybody knows, modified semiconductor incentive, a special incentive policy, which was the first of the policies to give a fillip to the electronics industry's development in India. Electronics industry, basically, it's a $1.75 trillion industry across the globe, and it's the largest and the fastest growing manufacturing industry in the world. The demand in the Indian market in 2008-2009 was of $40 billion, and out of which we imported electronics worth $25 billion, and we manufactured electronics worth about $20 billion. Now, electronics consumption in the country is increasing. It's increasing at a pace which is beyond one's thinking. It is estimated that by 2020, the consumption in India of electronics would be of $400 billion. If we have the electronics industry growing the way it is growing as of now, without making any extra efforts, it will reach a level of $100 billion from the current $20 billion by 2020, which will leave a gap of $300 billion in the year 2020 to be imported from the rest of the world unless we make extraordinary efforts to develop an ecosystem for manufacturing electronics in India. Now, what is $300 billion? I'll give you an idea. Today's oil import bill last year was $102 billion. Electronics import will overtake the import of oil by the year 2015 if we don't do anything about it. And that would be such a burden on India's resources and foreign exchange. And therefore, it is imperative that we do everything within our might as a country to develop all that is required for manufacturing consumer electronics, manufacturing VLSI, in which we are already fairly good, and we also enter in the semiconductor industry. We also have a fab or two in India which would trigger this revolution which is so much required. So this consumption gap of $300 billion is what is the motivating factor for the policies that have been announced by the government of India. Have they all been told about the policies during the last 2 days? Everybody knows the triad of the electronics policies that the government announced recently: the preferential market access, the National Electronics Fund, the modified SIPs, and what else? And electronic manufacturing clusters, and the incentive for the project, Electronic Development Fund, etc. Now, what is expected is that the state governments follow this up and beef it up to make each of their states more competitive for development of electronics. Now, this manufacturing of electronics, what is the game this is what we learn, I suppose, from the states which are represented in this panel. And may I request, first of all, Mr. Sreenivas, K.S. Sreenivas, to tell us about what is the game plan of Kerala in following up with the policies announced by the Government of India and making Kerala the most competitive state for manufacturing of electronics. Mr. K. Sreenivas. Whatever.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege to share the dais with Sri Saxena Saab and other dignitaries on the dais. I wish, I have come from Kerala, which is known for its tourism and all those aspects. And I'm sure many of you would have visited Kerala. It has got a nickname of God's own country. It's known for its tourism and other products. I wish you asked me to give a presentation on tourism, but unfortunately, this is a different subject. I have held other portfolios before industries, I think IT and health. There also we are doing a great job, but unfortunately, in the electronics hardware, I think we are lagging behind. And we need to do a lot, and we are trying to do something in the years to come. And I was attending the previous session in the other hall. I was wondering, I just wanted to share my thoughts about that before starting my presentation on this. Why? I mean, even Saxena Saab has told us that there's a lot of gap between the demand and the supply. And I was looking at this, IT, if you look at the IT sector, India is perhaps number one. I think our Indian engineers are known throughout the world. And you name it, any big company in the world, I think you find engineers from India and engineers from Hyderabad. So there is no problem from that aspect. Whereas if you look at the electronics manufacturing, I think the same is not the case. Hardly any manufacturing takes place. I mean, maybe some exceptions are there here and there, but hardly any manufacturing takes place here. And we are not into any chips, not manufacturing any chips. And in my opinion, I think even the syllabus that is being taught in our colleges, even in the IITs or the NITs or the previous RECs. I mean, I am from REC, Warangal. I did about 25 years back my engineering. And I remember we had recently a Silver Jubilee meet in Warangal. It was a great occasion. I'm sure some of you who have attended such occasions in your life also would have felt very, very happy about it. So, I mean, our batch, 35 of them, we just had a look at that. Out of 35, around 10 to 12 people are in the marketing area now. Marketing, maybe different kinds of things. And in the finance sector, those who have done MBA in the IIMs and other international colleges. And then some of them are in the government sector like me. And very few, I think 3 or 4 have remained in the electronic sector. Only 3 or 4. One person is working in HAL, 1 or 2 persons are working in HAL, and then the 2 other persons, that too in public sector organizations. So this is a state of affairs. After BTech, I think we go into IIMs and we go into the IAS or we go into other things. And coming to the subject, coming to the syllabus, you look at the syllabus of BTech Computer Science or BTech IT now and the BTech Electronics and Communications. And I remember, I think in communications engineering, I think we studied about valves. Those days, I mean, valves are almost extinct. Nobody knew what valves were. They were all looking into the solid state and integrated chips, but we were not taught about those things. Similarly, come to the microprocessors. I think we were only taught about 8085 microprocessor. And I'm sure even now, even in the IITs, I think 8086 is being taught, if I am not wrong. It must be true to a great extent. So, I mean, how can we expect our engineers to come out and then, think about 808, I mean, after 85, you know, the world has moved a lot, 8085, after that 8086, 80286, 386, 486, Pentium 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then after that what happened, I don't know. Maybe Core Trio, now i3, i7, i5, i7. So, I mean, we lost track of all these developments in the processors. So, but are we teaching these things? Whereas in the IT sector, what is latest in IT? It is C++. It is being taught even in the colleges. So, they are at par with the what is there in the world, what is there outside the classroom. Whereas in the electronics, I think we still have to, maybe we had to improve our syllabus. We need to make it much more market friendly. So I think this, I thought of informing you, I thought of sharing this idea. I mean, not that you don't know, just wanted to, it was just nagging me. So I thought of telling you this. And coming to Kerala's electronics, you know about, my presentation will be confined to 3 agencies. One is Keltron. It's called Kerala Electronics Development Corporation. It's a PSU, Government of Kerala PSU, 100% owned by the Government of Kerala. And we also have two agencies. One is called KINFRA, Infrastructure Development Corporation, and the KSIDC, that is Kerala State Industrial Development Corporation. Coming to Keltron, I'm sure even now people remember Keltron just because of its TV. In 80s, or I think in late 80s, Keltron TV is supposed to be one of the best TVs in India, not only in Kerala but in India. Those days, I think there were no Samsungs, there are no Sonys, there are no Toshibas, there are no LGs, I mean, all these companies are just about 10-year-old or maybe 6-7 years old. And those days, I mean, even in 90s also, electronics field in the television sector, I think only some of the Indian companies were ruling the roost. I think maybe Videocon and BPL and whatnot. I mean, these 2-3. Oninda, yes, Mirk Electronics, Oninda. These are the three main players in the TV sector. But what happened after that? After 85, 86, and then 90s? I think, I mean, being a public sector, I think there are a lot of inherent difficulties, inherent problems, weaknesses are there. I mean, I don't think a public sector company will be able to catch up with the latest technology, with the latest models, with the latest features. So obviously, we become very old. I mean, obsolete within no time. So that was one of the reasons why, after the initial momentum, I think we lost there. And of course, after that, due to other reasons also, Keltron saw a very bad phase. It went into the BIFR also. And then now it's come back to track now. It has come back to track, and I'm happy. My MD is also sitting there. Mr. Prasanna Kumar is also sitting there. So it is now on track, and then we are trying to do something. So right now, the Keltron is in power electronics, control instrumentation, strategic electronics, and transportation segment, and security and surveillance, and electronic components. I'm not going to touch about all these aspects, but the 2-3 main items Keltron is making is for the defense sector. Defense means Indian Navy. For Indian Navy, Keltron manufactures sonar arrays systems and the mines also. One sonar array system will cost about 4 to 5 crore rupees. Such a huge equipment. And strategic electronics, it supplies a wide range of products and systems to defense sector. And the technology, it may be in-house developed, or it may be developed designed by outside agencies like DRDO laboratories, like even VSSC, ISRO, and CDAC. All these agencies, they give the technology to Keltron. They ask the Keltron to manufacture these items, and of course we manufacture. And this is one area. Other area is the power electronics. We are number one in the power electronics sector, and even big companies in India like Nuclear Power Corporation, GAIL, NTPC, all these such companies, they prefer the power systems from Keltron. And here also, I think in Calcutta and in Delhi, the traffic management systems, they're all manufactured by Keltron. And the new initiatives, coming to the new initiatives. ISRO, I mean, they have acknowledged the expertise available with Keltron, and they have funded a new project. It's called Aerospace Division. They're going to start an aerospace division in Keltron itself. These subsystems, this is for assembly, integration, and testing of subsystems of this flight package like GSLV. In GSLV, you know, whenever GSLV takes off, there will be a big news, and then even I think recently the Honorable Prime Minister also attended one such launch. So all those in there, Keltron's involvement is there. So that's really, we are really proud of that. And as per the latest government policy, electronic system design and manufacturing, I think that is going, they want to encourage indigenous manufacturing. Indigenous, because as rightly said by Saxena Saab, most of the technology is coming from outside, and we are importing. Almost 90-95% is imported. So, and our endeavor would be to import substitution. That is for import substitution, and how to indigenize so that the cost will come down. So they are going into, they want to encourage, the government of India wants to encourage indigenous manufacturing. And another feature is they want to give marketing, access, they want to give a preferential treatment for the items manufactured by the indigenously manufactured electronic goods in government procurement. These are, I think, if I understand properly, these are the two major aspects of the ESDM policy of the government of India. And as part of these policies, this ESDM policy, Kerala government is starting three new projects. One is, Keltron has identified, because you know, the government of India has made it mandatory for the digitization of the cable TV services in India. I think by December 2014, already in some of the metro cities, this digitization cable and this DTH has become compulsory now. So we found there is a great market And then we thought of that project. And the demand for these set-top boxes in India is expected to be around 200 million units. So a huge potential for the DTH services, and I'm sure even Kamal Hassan started. He wanted to release his Vishwarupam film through DTH, and then due to some problem, it could not take place. And then I think it's getting released next month only, I think. So the Keltron is going to enter into this manufacturing set-top boxes in India, set-top boxes, and the production will start by the mid of 2013. This another 6 months time is going to start. This is one area we want to concentrate on. And the second area is LED tube lights. You know, the energy efficiency is one of the major areas. Because you know every state, barring perhaps, not perhaps, I saw Gujarat recently. I was in Gujarat as an observer, election observer. There, I think electricity is there's no power cuts, and 220 volts power is available anywhere in any corner of the state. I think perhaps Gujarat is the only state in entire India which is not facing any power problems. Whereas in Kerala, of course, we are buying from outside. But many states, they are having 10 hours or even 8 hours power cut. So power efficiency is a need of the hour. And that's for that LED tube lights. That is also Keltron has taken up in a big way, and we are going to start the production again by the end of 2013. That's the second aspect we are going to do. Third one is again I take help from Gujarat. I happen to go to the Gujarat solar power. I think about 150 kilometers from Mehsana. So I went there. It's fabulous. There's 5,000 acres of land. And so many companies are set up, each company at least 25 megawatt, almost 250, 600, I think out of 600, 250 has been already implemented. So, that is again one of the key areas for the energy sector in India. So there also we found there's a lot of scope. So it's something called power conditioning units, solar power conditioning units. This is also another area. And Keltron has identified this as another project. The PSU, because we are very, Keltron is very powerful in power electronics. You name it, the inverters and all that. I think Keltron inverters are famous because I already mentioned all these national companies are taking from us. So taking, leverage out of that, we want to have, and also the technology from IIT Kharagpur. So these two aspects are there. Technology from IIT Kharagpur, and we are going to have another PCU, that is power conditioning units, that is also we are going to start. So these are the three major initiatives apart from the aerospace division. Aerospace division also, a lot of electronics is there in the defense area. And then right now we only have around 300 crores is the turnover now. Next year, this is going to become 400 crores, and our ultimate aim is to touch 500 crores turnover in the 2 to 3 years. This is about the story of Keltron. Then coming to the KINFRA, that is the Kerala Infrastructure Development Corporation. We identified that there is a lot of gap between demand and supply. And demand, because we always feel in Kerala we are a consumer state. Kerala is a consumer state because at least 90% of food grains comes from outside. And 90% of fruits and 90% of the vegetables come from outside, even all kinds of things. So we are a consumer state. But whereas when it comes to electronics, I think whole India is a consumer country, if I may say so. So the demand supply gap is huge, and we think that we have certain plus points for electronics hardware to come up in Kerala. One is we have a socially advanced, Kerala is a socially advanced state with high literacy, almost 90%, 95% literacy is there. Availability, we have, previously Keralites used to go to Maharashtra or Karnataka for getting BTech education. Now we have around more than 82 engineering colleges and more than 100 polytechnics, and so availability of skilled and semi-skilled manpower is not a problem. High human life index, because you name it, any latest car, latest mobile, latest anything, everything is test marketed first in Kerala, then only it will be sent to other states. And we also have 3 international airports. Such a small state, in 3 international airports, and the 4th international airport is also coming up, and the 5th one is also on the drawing board now. So I mean 3 or 4, 5 airports are coming up in Kerala. And also we have another one thing, international container transshipment terminal at Kochi. This is there is only one such ICTT terminal in entire India. So these are all the things. And then one more added advantage is that we have agencies like Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, and also NPOL, National Physical Oceanography Laboratory. Such R&D institutions are there. So there is definitely a potential for electronic hub. So we have identified the need for the electronic hub, and KSIDC is going to start a electronics hub in Kochi. Kochi is a main city here in Kerala. So we are going to have, and idea is to attract original equipment manufacturers and R&D institutions, semiconductor manufacturing and fabrication and ancillary units. This is one such project we are going to have now. And the Kinfra also have, they started an SEZ for electronic hardware manufacturing with NEST. NEST is one of the private sector groups, it's a Kochi-based private sector group. In collaboration with NEST, Kinfra has set up a what you call SPV, a special purpose vehicle. It's called Kinfra High-Tech Park Limited. It's already, SEZ has already been notified in 2006 August, and the co-developer, that is NEST, has been identified. It has been approved in 2007 November. Land is about 30 acres of land, and the idea is the vision is to attract high-tech companies and professionals to the park, and to encourage R&D and innovation of high-tech industries, and to increase exports, and of course to generate employment. It's a 500 crores project, and land is ready for allotment and for processing, both for processing and non-processing. Non-processing means like other hotels, luxury hotel, bank, post office, telecom, food court, shopping mall, recreation facilities. These are all non-processing activities, and almost 20 acres of land is for processing in the area, and 10 acres is for the non-processing area. So we are also looking for customers. We are also looking for investors globally to set up their shop in this SEZ that is also coming up in Kochi. There is a place called Kalmasheri near Kochi. There this Kinfra high-tech park is coming up now. It's almost maybe another 6-7 months. The first phase will be implemented. First phase will be inaugurated. So this is what Kerala is doing, and I hope there's a lot to be done. These are all the small initiatives Kerala government has started doing in the last few years, and I thank the organizer for giving this opportunity and to share my ideas. Thank you.
Thank you, Sreenivas. So good, you told the story of Keltron. That reminded me. Is there anybody from Electronics Corporation of India here? ECIL? Nobody. So way back, 20 years back, I used to be on the board of directors of ECIL. Electronics, Government of India set up 2 major PSUs, Bharat Electronics Limited and Electronics Corporation of India Limited. Now the genesis of the 2 was, Bharat Electronics Limited was set up under the Ministry of Defence to fulfill the defence requirements of electronics. Electronics ancillarization, because in the area of defence we had to be self-sufficient. So Bharat Electronics was set up to see that all electronics requirement of defence purposes are met within the country. Electronics Corporation of India Limited was set up under the Ministry of Atomic Energy. And as all of us know, atomic energy was one area where there was not even an iota of technology which was permitted to be imported from outside, permitted to be obtained from outside. We have the pride of having developed every bit of nuclear power engineering all by ourselves. Of course, we did a lot of re-engineering, reverse engineering after getting insight into the particularly pressurized heavy water reactors, which is the kind of reactors that we have been setting up, except Tarapur, where it was pressurized water reactor. Now you have Kudankulam and you have Kakrapar. So the electronics requirements, particularly control and instrumentation of the nuclear reactors, to develop that, Electronics Corporation of India Limited was set up, and it had number of groups. So it also had, it's in fact, it's very competent organization in the field of antennae. Its antennae division is one of the very modern and advanced division. But I was, I took interest in two groups, essentially to wind them up. One was consumer electronics. I was reminded of this story when he talked about Keltron TV. You know, ECIL TV, if people, old people would recall, those were the days, I am talking of 70s. Those were the days when nothing was, you know, for a Vespa scooter you had to wait for 4 years. 4 years or 5 years, and then also you could sell it. 3,000 was the cost of a Vespa scooter, and you could get a premium of 2,500 rupees. So a Vespa scooter could be available for 6,000 rupees. And ECIL TV also commanded a premium. You had to wait for almost 18 months to get an ECIL black and white TV. And I was the person instrumental for winding up that division, because it was called Consumer Electronics Group. I said ECIL has no business to be in this consumer electronics, because I remember I was there in 90, 91, 92, and they were manufacturing a TV called Legend, and they were very proud because it was a color TV. But what I looked at was that there was no research that they had along with it. The point I am trying to drill home is the fact that they were doing it without having research, and now I'll come down to that. The other group was mainframe computer. You know, in the pursuit of getting a supercomputer, they had imported a mainframe computer, which also I wound up because by then the computing technologies had moved very fast. And the point is that electronics technologies were moving so fast, and in a bonded country like India, there was no indigenous research that went on the same, at the same pace. And I'll tell you how the research happens, and I want to give you an overview of what is this electronics race all about. In the course of Vibrant Gujarat, all senior officers are interested countries. You know, we have developed more or less like a Ministry of Commerce with foreign trade in Gujarat itself. My countries are Taiwan and Korea. And I every time I've been visiting those countries, I have friends across the industry. I have sat with people who are icons in the field of electronics. You know, Acer founder of Acer, Stan Chi, is considered to be the Bhishma Pitame of electronics, even globally. I have sat and had dinner with him. I have had dinner with people, you know, who are real Bhishma Pitame of electronics industry. But more than that, in Taiwan, I have gone to science parks, Hsinchu Science Park. Hsinchu Science Park is a famous science park. Now, what is a science park all about? And this is what I want this forum to understand. What is the way you really do research? I went to one of the laboratories, industrial laboratories in the Hsinchu Science Park. It is called ITRI, Information Technology Research Institute. Imagine, it gets 5 patents a day. International patents. 5 international patents a day. It gets 1,500 patents in a year. Hsinchu Science Park, ITRI, one laboratory. Now this is, and this is all in the frontier areas. Some of the foremost applications in phones like Apple i5 or whatever, some of the research comes from that laboratory. Now, how does it work? Typically, in the evening, we would have dinner with these kind of people. There was a scientist sitting next to me, and I asked him, he was from ITRI. I said, how much money do you get? He said, depends. I said, depends on what? Do you get $1 million a year? He said it could be more. No, first I asked him, I didn't expect $1 million. So I said, what, $200,000? He said, depends, it could be more. I said, $500,000? He said, depends, it could be more. I said, $1 million? He said, depends, it could be more. So I said, what is the whole thing about? He says, look, today I am in this laboratory. I have a patent in my hand, which is now a proven product, and I am moving over to the industry because I have crossed the stage of pilot scale production. Now I have to upscale and do the commercial production. I will move from laboratory to industry. So when I move to industry with my patent, with the pilot already validated, I may get $2 million. And then when the production is stabilized, and you know, the obsolescence is so fast that this product would not last too long. So what happens when this product is obsolete and he doesn't have another product, or yesterday I used the word disruptive innovation. So either you have disruptive innovation or you have incremental innovation. So either he has a product of incremental innovation or he has a product of disruptive innovation in his hands. Having gone through the whole cycle, he goes back to the university, which is also located in the same science park. So you have 2-3 universities in that science park, which have academic hypothesis level laboratories, from where it moves to industrial laboratory, from where it goes to incubator, from where it goes to commercial scale upscaling, and then industry. The man moves. The point in having a science park is that his family doesn't move. He goes from university to laboratory to incubator to industry, and it is all co-located, and people keep moving like this. Back to university, maybe he's getting $300,000 again. And then he has a product in his hand. He has a idea in his hand. From the university, he moves out with an idea, but the idea which has been just validated in an academic laboratory, he would move to an incubator or an incubator and then industrial laboratory. The industry which is located in that very science park will start backing up this fellow. So they'll say, okay, now you'll go to that place and get $500,000. Now there he is busy upscaling his product, bringing it to industrial laboratory. By then the product is fairly proven, and this all happens in quick succession, because electronics research, this is the paradigm of electronics research. And electronics research cannot lie, in the laboratories for months together, much less years together. It's very quick. So that's how he keeps getting his money, and he keeps traveling. This is what is called a knowledge city. And this is what we don't have. What do we have? We have white elephants, the CSIR laboratories. Our laboratories, India has the largest budget on research in that way, spent on scientists A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and they get into some kind of a hierarchy. It's not that they don't produce. We have, I'm not running down the institution of research in India, but what I'm saying is that we are missing horizontal linkages between academy, the incubation, the industrial research, and the industry. Industry and academia are far too removed. Today what happens? Today a BEIT coming out of a run-of-the-mill university or anywhere except short of IT. What does he get? What is the placement level of a BEIT coming out of a college? It could be anywhere starting from 12,000 rupees to 20,000 rupees per month. A BEIT doesn't get first placement beyond that, beyond 20,000 rupees, and he has not seen a data center. He's not understood most of the IT infrastructure and hardware. He's not got any hands-on perception or experience. This disconnect is what is causing a major gap in the advancement of electronics research in India. So that is where we are trying to create knowledge cities. In Gujarat, we are trying to do that, but apart from the fact that electronics manufacturing clusters, which would be a good idea. Once you have EMCs, they need to be coupled with electronics research. Which are the electronics research laboratories in India? You have CSIR laboratories. There are. CDAC is there. CDAC is doing a good job. CDAC certainly is doing a very good job. But then you visualize the connect, and states, I would say, now must invest good part of their budgets in setting up research or in supporting universities which have good research institutions and which are connected with the electronic manufacturing clusters. Unless there is a very close connect, and there have to be industrial research laboratories also. In between the academies and the industry, there have to be industrial research laboratories fully on their own, so that they have their own strength to thrive. And there has to be this kind of incentive, footloose scientists who move wherever with their product and are eligible to get whatever monies. You cannot have scientists in cadres where there is a promotion and the promotion is flexible, complementing or merit cum seniority or whatever, but that doesn't support ingenuity. So that is where I found Korea is totally different, but in both these countries, my understanding of the things is Korea, I'll tell you the example of Gwangju metropolitan city, where Korean government decided that we will create a world's center of excellence for photo-optronics. You know, photo-optronics today is the thing of future. He talked about the load on energy requirement and the need for research in LED lighting and things like those. Now, how does Korea go about it? In fact, the person who was lecturing us, telling about how they created this Gwangju metropolitan city as the world's center for photo-optronics, he said how much money Korean government, gave for the purpose. Like they push huge money in setting up research infrastructure. Both Taiwan and Korea, both have not looked back while investing for research institutions. But they've also developed projects which are integrated projects, holistic projects. When it is science research, it's not just a research laboratory. It's a science city that they have. It's a knowledge city that they have. So I asked him, I said, okay, you have set up the infrastructure, but tell me how all the top brains, Korean brains of photo-optronics, came from all over the world, from different corners of the world, and have come down and settled here, and now doing work here. He said, that's why. I said, how many projects you have? What is the value of your projects? He said, $3 billion. Now, this fellow who was making the presentation before us, he had projects worth $3 billion with him. So all research is backed up by industry, and professors came from different universities of US because they were offered money. Everybody wants to come back to one's own country if he gets honor. And that's what Korea has done. It has given honor to its brains wherever they were by giving them huge amounts of money, whatever they were getting. Each person, they negotiated separately. How much should we give you? What do you want? Like that. And what is the most important thing is you can set up laboratories, but you cannot get the brains, together to make that laboratory move. And that's what these two countries have been able to do by not putting the man in a structure, by letting the man be valued for what he's doing. And that is what we need to do in India. So that was point one. How do you build up an ecosystem for electronics research or electronics production system? And second thing I want to just at this juncture, I could have done it after, maybe let us have Mr. P.V. Rao speak. Next interval I'll talk about some other story.
Yeah, I would like to tell what Andhra Pradesh is doing in electronics manufacturing area. First is we have come up with a hardware policy, electronic hardware policy in last August. That is electronic hardware policy 2012-17. This is in line with the ICT policy which we have come up with in 2010-15. So in line with that, we have announced hardware policy, and here we have most of the incentives that are there for the IT and ITES sector are applicable to the electronic hardware sector also. Some of the incentives that we are giving may not be big for a big manufacturing unit, but definitely this is going to be a lot of help for SMEs at least. Some of the incentives that we are giving for the electronic manufacturing units are we give 100% reimbursement of the stamp duty and transfer duty, and on the first sale, and 50% on the second sale. Then we give a rebate on the power, power subsidy. We give up to 50% for a micro, and it comes down to 10% level for a large scale unit, and totally the cap is 30 lakh over a period of 5 years. That's the power subsidy that what we give for the manufacturing units. Then to take part in exhibitions, national and international exhibitions, we give 50% subsidy when they take part outside or in the domestic exhibitions also. Then we give 20% subsidy on the investments that are made on the capital expenditure, 20% subsidy. And we 3% is the interest rebate they get up to 5 lakhs per annum, and 10% on the capital equipment. For technology upgradation, there the cap is 25 lakhs. That's a one-time affair. Then we also give for quality certifications for quality. For that also they get a substantial amount as a subsidy. Then and for 100% tax reimbursement of VAT, CST up to 5 years, that also is there, but that is limited to only for the production made in Andhra Pradesh and for the products sold in Andhra Pradesh. And 25% rebate on the land costs, and land cost is now, at least I should say, because of the thanks to the meltdown what we have seen in 2008, the land costs in Hyderabad have come down substantially, and the land rates are definitely low compared to any other city of that magnitude, and on that we are giving 25% subsidy. And as I mentioned this morning, we have a excellent 165-kilometer outer ring road. Almost 80% is complete and it's operational. Remaining 20% is going to be completed in maybe 2 years from now, and the total outer ring road is going to be operational. So you have, because of this 165-kilometer outer ring road, you know, tens of thousands of barren lands have got opened up, which is available for the housing and industry, and that is also putting pressure on the prices on the core area, because people, since it's very cheap here, people would like to move to the away where the connection is very good. So on that again we give a 25% rebate on the land, and apart from that 50% reimbursement is on training. When the manpower industry sends their manpower for any skill upgradation, on the training cost 50% reimbursement. These are some of the incentives that we have given, apart from and they are exempt now. The electronic industry is exempt from statutory power cuts, which the industry was facing. And definitely in Andhra Pradesh, power is a very big concern, but fortunately the government has woken up and made electronic manufacturer industry exempt from this power cuts. So these are some of the main incentives that the state government is providing to the industry. Apart from as I mentioned the morning, the 3 electronic hardware manufacturing clusters that we are coming up, 2 in Hyderabad and 1 in Visakhapatnam, 600 acre. One is very abutting the outer ring road, and another 300 acre is south of the airport and south of the outer ring road, and 100 acres in Visakhapatnam, which is about 15 kilometers away from the city. So these are some of the things what we are doing. And actually at one point of time, Hyderabad was doing very well in the electronic industry thanks to ECL, and ECL has played an anchor role for Hyderabad, and because of that a lot of ancillaries have come up and it was doing well. But somewhere along the line, I think we have missed the bus, and focus was totally shifted to IT. And I mean Hyderabad was nowhere in the IT segment, but today it is important destination, not just in the country, it is globally. I mean Hyderabad is recognized as a destination, and now we want to replicate that in the manufacturing sector, and hopefully in 10 to 20 year time, we want to make Hyderabad as a, a destination for manufacturing, and for which we have plans to rope in some. Again, the way ECL, as mentioned, the ECL has played an anchor role, like Maruti, what has done for the country, for automobile industry. We need to bring in some big, very big global player to Hyderabad to, and it's not very easy, to bring, I know, but then if you have to see, our dream realize, we don't have any other go, we have to, offer whatever they ask for and bring some couple of very big international players to set up their manufacturing base in the state. Only then we'll see that will complement the local industry, and one will complement the other. So this is the vision what the state government has for this sector, and thankfully the deity also is very, very proactive now, and very much interested in helping the manufacturing sector, and we also want to take full advantage of the electronic manufacture cluster scheme that they have announced, and we are working on that. Already we have submitted 2 DPRs, one for 600 acres and other for 300 acres, and hopefully sometime this year we should start working on that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rao.
Yeah.
Let me now request Mr. Tiwari. Mr. Tiwari is Additional Chief General Manager of the MP State Electronics Development Corporation.
Thank you, Mr. Saxena. I am from Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, representing the Department of Information Technology, Madhya Pradesh. Department of IT has 2 organizations. One is MP State Electronics Development Corporation, which was initially it started as a normal electronic corporation of the other states, but later on diversified into IT, and is primarily carrying out the implementation of common IT infrastructure projects and the promotion of IT and electronics in the state. There is another organization, Madhya Pradesh Agency for Promotion of IT, that is primarily a sort of think tank to the IT department and providing consultancy to government departments. In fact, I have been feeling this for a long time, that India has not progressed in electronics hardware manufacturing, and the government of India at the right time has, in fact, probably it's a bit late, but has tried to bring policies to promote this sector. I have the privilege of having worked in the manufacturing sector for about more than 10 years. So, and being in the government, I can understand the problems of the industry as well as the administration, and correlate it much better, having worked in the manufacturing. When I was working in the manufacturing, we had, since then I have observed, and in fact, I was very happy to know that Mr. Saxena, being in administrative services, he has developed a very good knowledge of the hardware industry, and he has identified the issues so precisely what we are lacking. In fact, I have also observed when we were working, I have worked in design, production, quality control, and different sectors. As far as design is concerned, our design was limited to reverse engineering, copying some product or something. We never carried out basic design or basic research. So that is something which has been lacking, and now there are a lot of fields where we haven't been able to do well, and let us hope with the announcement of these policies, we may create a good ecosystem. In fact, the biggest challenge I see in the present scenario is the caption given here, putting policies into practice. Being in the government, I have been seeing the problems of the industry, and we announced very good policies. In fact, the policy announced contains, incentives for all sectors of the industry, of the hardware industry. But putting into practice, creating an ecosystem and passing on the benefits to the industry and creating an atmosphere where industry can flourish, it's a very difficult job. It's a very, very difficult job. I mean, not so easy. I mean, it's making a policy is very easy, but putting it into practice. Even recently, we announced the IT policy 2012 in Madhya Pradesh. In Madhya Pradesh, we haven't identified hardware as a specific different sector. In case of Madhya Pradesh, electronics hardware manufacturing is a part of information technology only, and whatever incentives are available to the IT sector are also available to the electronics hardware manufacturing sector, apart from the normal incentives like capital subsidy, interest subsidy, and some small labor laws and all. We have one of the major incentives which we are offering at present to the industries is we are giving land at 25% of the cost. We have recently, in fact, what has happened in the last few years, Madhya Pradesh has been gradually concentrating on creating an ecosystem and building infrastructure for the industry. In fact, yesterday Madhya Pradesh got an award for the highest agricultural growth rate in India, not only in agriculture, but the administration since the last few years has been working in all directions silently, and an good atmosphere for the industry is being created. So, as a part of that, we have in the last 2 years, we have identified land in 4 major cities of Madhya Pradesh for the IT and industry in general, which includes electronic hardware industry. With the announcement of this policy for electronic manufacturing clusters, we have again started identifying area for clusters. Presently, we have reserved some land in Indore and Bhopal for electronic manufacturing clusters, and we have identified land in Gwalior and Jabalpur. So, we will be earmarking land. Of course, we are going a bit slow because electronic hardware manufacturing, I mean development of electronics industry, hardware industry is not going to be as easy as development of the IT industry. So, we have identified and we are trying to set up clusters. Apart from setting up clusters, we are giving to incentive to individual industries, and basically what MP is focusing on is trying to simplify the procedures. I mean, we keep on talking about single window, but once you enter the window, you find so many other windows open for you. So, I mean, our Chief Secretary nowadays is regularly, weekly, he is carrying a review meeting to simplify the rules, policies and procedures to do this. So, let us hope with the help of the Government of India policy and the state government, we would be able to set up, I mean, we will be able to develop hardware industries in the state. As far as my personal opinion goes, I think semiconductor manufacturing, unless we have a good facility for semiconductor manufacturing in India, we won't be able to, basic research in semiconductor manufacturing and chip manufacturing, we won't be able to progress as fast. So that is one area where a lot of work needs to be done, where Government of India has also announced special incentive package. Apart from that, what I think Mr. Sreenivas told us, LED lighting and solar photovoltaics, that is another major area where we should focus on, because LED light, apart from being efficient, it has a very long life. So it doesn't cause wastage like tube lights and CFLs, where the life cycle is about 1 year on an average. I mean, though the companies claim the life cycle of tube lights and CFLs to be 5,000 hours, but generally we don't get 5,000 hours, or even if we get 5,000 hours. LED lights are, 10 to 20 times have a longer life. So, and since LED works on DC voltage and solar photovoltaic generates a DC voltage, so the interface required between LED and solar photovoltaic is very cheap. So we should be concentrating. MP has a lot of potential because it has a large rural area. So let's hope now we start a new era of development of hardware industry in the country. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Tiwari. I think, we got excellent points coming out of the presentations of Mr. Rao, Mr. Sreenivas, and Mr. Tiwari. Vandana, would you like to make any comments?
Not a big comment, sir. I have already explained in my earlier session about this scheme. Only I would like to say, because...
Take the mic. Yeah.
I would like to say that it's really very important that putting policies into practice is very, very important. And so department is now, we are into, interacting with industry. We are ready to receive all the inputs and any practical problem which are coming and applying into the scheme. We would like to know, we are already interacting, and we would welcome any inputs in this regard. So we are really dedicated and want to make these things success. That is what I want to say.
Okay. So the points which emerge are, there is this mention of anchor industry, ECIL. We don't have Tamil Nadu here, but actually no ELCOT. Nokia in Shri Perambudur, the Nokia SEZ is the largest manufacturing facility of mobiles anywhere in the world. And it is an SEZ, and it is a complete ecosystem. You have Foxconn also there to support Nokia. So everybody who is required for manufacturing mobiles is there. That is a case in point which has demonstrated how an anchor industry in its perfect ecosystem can make a difference. Chennai is actually today all set for being the largest, strongest electronics state of the country. The other anchor industry you have is Samsung and LG in Delhi. Not in Delhi, they are both in Noida. Noida is UP. But the kind of ancillarization that should have resulted hasn't resulted in Noida. Why is because there is no, they are manufacturing white goods largely, televisions, displays, displays is still not manufactured in India. The display is all being imported, refrigerators and things like those. Now, getting an anchor industry is important for the reason that it does its own research or brings its own research from wherever its parent setup is, like Korea for LG and Samsung and Nokia perhaps. Nokia does a lot of good research here. The other point that I want to make is that mobile, when it comes to voice data and video, mobile is turning out to be the key device. The kind of computing power that you have in a mobile is comparably much more superior and better packed than what you have in a desktop. Now, why is the device, handheld device, becoming important is because of this reason. Because of the reason that the consumption of electronics would happen largely now. The expansion of the electronics market would take place in the bottom of the pyramid. Because of the e-governance experiments that are being made across the country, the electronic service delivery bill that is there, all government services would be delivered electronically. And today we have 135 million users of internet, which is a minuscule number compared to 1.2 billion Indians that we have. It goes without saying that the expansion of internet to a large cross-section of Indians would call for a huge market of devices which can have internet rolling on them. Now, what are these devices? These are devices which are converged devices between a desktop and a mobile. And that is what is happening. A grand convergence is taking place in the device space, where a tablet, now, for instance, laptops are becoming obsolete. If you see the figures of production of laptops across the world, they're falling. The tablets are increasing. Tablets also, different size of tablets. The variance, if you study, you'll find that mobile tablets are reaching towards mobile and mobile is reaching towards the tablet. The desktops are also losing their position in the world. So it's finally going to converge into a handheld device which would carry voice, video, data, everything, and run like a computer and still be footloose. Doesn't have to have a connector. It can be charged in the day. What is the key there? The key there is VLSI and the memory. Memory being miniaturized is a big game across the world. And all major companies, as you know, involved in memory are acting very, very fast. I visited quite a few on the West Coast, again in the context of Vibrant Gujarat 2013. And I saw the breakneck speed in which the competition is going on, both in SSD and in flash, on memory front. Memory is going to be the game changer. How do you miniaturize memory? Because ultimately, the device is going to be a miniaturized device. Imagine the memory today you carry in your pocket. My iPhone 5, I was telling somebody, it has 140 presentations. Of course, they are basically from the cloud, but I carry all my presentations in a mobile. It has a display also. How is it different from a USB? Because it has a display, it has voice, it has everything. It is a complete device. Now, this is where the world is going so far as the devices are concerned. What I am trying to prove is that the expansion of the consumption of electronics would be in this space. My own theory, I like to speak about, I say the devices are converging, the networks have to converge, the application technologies have to converge, and this is what I call DNA of transformation. Devices, networks, and applications all converging to fulfill the dream of transformation that this country has to go through by the ICT revolution that is sweeping across the country. So with that, I think I'd like to throw open the floor for questions. Please identify yourself. We have 15 minutes. And ask the question. Tell whom do you want to ask the question. Yeah. You can sit.
Hello, Mr. Saxena. Very nice to know about your in-depth knowledge on the memories and all this kind of things, and also on the Vibrant Gujarat and the pride it brings to Gujaratis and also to the rest of India. However, what I'm seeing, so I'm Viral Gosalia from Freescale Semiconductor, working as product marketing for microcontrollers, and with past experience in memories. What I'm seeing is that in electronic industry, the core industry, be it VLSI or be it in the system integration or so on and so forth, still Gujarat is more focused on heavy industries and other kind of industries, and also on renewable energy and other kind of things, but still not on the system integration, not on electronics, on automotive. But Gujarat has the right ecosystem to offer to electronic industry besides other nice states. Why are we lacking if we have such a great diaspora, a lot of people looking forward to Gujarat?
Yeah, Gujarat is not a market leader in electronics. Gujarat is a manufacturing state. The average contribution of manufacturing to national economy is 16%. Gujarat's 28% comes from manufacturing. So obviously Gujarat is a manufacturing state. It has a strength in manufacturing, but it has greater strength in petrochemicals, petroleum, chemicals, dye stuff. Every state has its own historical and cultural reasons for being strong in a particular sector. Now, IT also, Gujarat is not strong, because both IT and electronics, for petrochemicals, chemicals, it is obvious. We have had petroleum, the first state which dug petroleum, Cambe and Ahmedabad oil fields, Mehsana oil fields, Hazira and all that, and which led to, the other thing was textiles. We had more than 200 large textile factories, and which led to processing, from processing to dyes, dye stuff, and then chemicals. Pharmaceutical, Gujarat is one of the leading players in pharmaceutical, more than 35% of country's production. Soda ash, 98% of country's production. So there are some sectors, every state cannot be perhaps strong in all the sectors, but when I analyzed the reasons, it was essentially because IT is a knowledge-based industry. It's basically knowledge-driven industry. The working capital of IT is knowledge. Now, where do the most knowledgeable of Gujaratis go? The most knowledgeable of Gujaratis don't go to do a job. The most knowledgeable of Gujaratis go to do a startup. And for that, they look for the land of opportunities, which is US. So first dream of a Gujarati is to, by hook or by crook, reach US.
So I'm from the same cadre and I just moved back last year. But what I'm trying to ask is that now that Gujarat...
So you're right.
Yeah.
So until now, it was IT, and IT consumed manpower at a very low rate, let me tell you. In India, the total production of IT was $80 billion. From all the world-known centers of IT production, what did we create? $80 billion. One factory, Foxconn, what is the turnover? $100 billion. One factory of China produces electronics worth $100 billion. We were not in the game where we were getting the best rewards for the brain power. Let me tell you, the network management tool of CA was bought by CA from a Bangalore company for 40 lakhs. One license of that is being sold for 4 crores. And hundreds of those licenses have been sold. The IPRS in US. For 40 lakhs, they have perhaps earned now revenues worth for 1,000 crores. And the investment in India is 40 lakhs, which has boiled down to payments to those knowledgeable boys. You see, I am also launching a campaign for IPR. In fact, I'm trying to set up a center of excellence for IPR. How many IPRs are there in India? For all the work that Bangalore does, for all the work that Hyderabad does, the IPRs are all there in US. So the money has gone. So what I'm saying is, basically this is my explanation for a Gujarati not being attracted towards doing things like this, because the creme de la creme of a state, where would it go? The creme de la creme of Gujarat goes for something which is better. When I went and joined in 1979 as an IS, nobody knew what an IS was. So they asked me, why do you wear a tie? Are you an advocate? Or a so I said, no, I am not an advocate, I am an IS. What is this? What is IS? So I said, it's a good job. He said, how much do you get? I said, 3,000 rupees. He said, you come from 3,000 kilometers to get 3,000 rupees here in this place. Why didn't you set up a pawn shop there? You could have got 3,000 rupees there. They wouldn't understand what is the big deal about an IS, and they reduce the IS that way also. I mean, like in Gujarat, IS doesn't mean the same as it means in Tamil Nadu. You know, in Tamil Nadu, a collector comes out of his house in the morning, people...
So what are you trying to do now? Gujarat, from global perspective, forget Gujarati, we are not good at it.
You are a Gujarati.
We are not good at it, but tell us how...
No, you are good at much better things. I said no financial scam can take place anywhere in the world without a Gujarati. They are so good at finance. There is no way. I mean, a 4-year-old child can tell you the interest on interest on interest of any amount. The Gujarati, knack for money, handling money as a commodity is out of this world. Now, your question is very right. When we are so good at manufacturing, now is the time when we are now entering in manufacturing sector. IT was not manufacturing. So we are coming out with a policy. I was going to, as a matter of fact, make this point that you give incentive on land, you give incentive reliefs of duties. Ultimately, what does it do? It reduces the final price, makes the final price slightly more competitive. But the point he made was very important, that we have been doing reverse engineering. We have not done original research. We have not done original designing. We have not done basic designing. What basic designing requires? The ergonomics for a device doesn't come from an electronic research laboratory. It comes from NID. It comes from a design institute. There are so many other institutions involved in the whole thing. If we are able to attach research, if governments, state governments, invest monies in connecting their academic institutions with the clusters, in a manner that there is an institutionalized relationship, not only of electronics research departments, but also of design of all other connected departments, create some kind of a paradigm, some kind of a structure, and have some kind of an organization which oversees that there are no bottlenecks in the flow of knowledge and all these things together to the final product. Basic research, connect basic research with the industry, then perhaps we would become competitive. It's very tough, as one of us said, to put it into practice. Putting it into practice, so you have today, I said Samsung and LG, but you also have Micromax, you also have Carbon, and you have Lava. Some of the very fine companies trying to, Lava for instance, I knew at one point of time was trying to come out with the state-of-the-art telephone, mobiles. And when it is mobile and the device, mobile becoming a device, we should also see how these can become anchor industries. Anchor industry is a very, very important thing. Without an anchor industry, you cannot create an ecosystem for electronics development. So we are trying on all these fronts. We are trying to now say that, okay, we are a manufacturing state, we are a strong state. Why shouldn't we go far in electronics manufacturing? So we're going to come out with a policy. Thank you.
Sir. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. My name is Kishore Narang. I'm just a design engineer and practicing design for last 30 plus years. My input on this policies is that every state is saying that we are encouraging, as per the policies we are trying to implement, we are allowing this, we are doing this. But the way forward would be that we need to, every state need to identify focus areas within electronics.
Yes.
That some state says, okay, this cluster, I'm announcing a cluster in this area for LED. Because otherwise, if you want industry to come up, we will have to wait another 2 years so that like-minded industries within the same ecosystem, pooling together, and then they come and give you a proposal for LED manufacturing or for renewable or for mobiles. And so every state has to come up that, okay, this is my product focus areas. I'm announcing 3 zones, 3 clusters or 4 clusters, and for this, my preferred field would be this. That way, I think we'll get much faster.
I think that is quite on the hands of the states. Every state is aware of this. This is a very valid point. Automobile electronics, obviously, if we have an automobile belt, that area would be best served by electronic manufacturing clusters, which are in the area of automobile electronics. Similarly, health electronics is a big sector. Yeah. Then you have VLSI, where you will require manpower of different kinds. So this is something which is, I think, understood by the states.
But it is not still being articulated by the state
I think this
government.
electronics manufacturing cluster policy is very recent, just a couple of months old. And this point has been made by the central government also. They have also identified different segments of electronics. And I'm sure that these synergies would be required to be developed in each of those separately. That's very valid point.
And one more point which Mr. Rao mentioned, that anchor industry, yes, it is very important the way you mentioned, but why do we have to look out of India for anchor industry? Why can't we identify something in indigenous anchor industry? We don't need global traction. We have enough consumption within India, and we have enough players who are willing to come up with a proper ecosystem and support that we now seem to be garnering. I think we should look more inside rather than outside for anchor industry.
India means the industry which has already acquired mass. That alone would be in a position to become an anchor industry. So it would be like Orida, Videocon, or Micromax, Lava, or some of these alone.
Yeah, even they could be.
There are no large industries.
Qualified to be called as an anchor industry. I mean, whether Micromax.
Actually, I tell you, you see, the next state after Chennai would be one where Samsung goes. Samsung is looking for a state, and I know it personally, because they have a lot of things. They are still there only for consumer goods, white goods.
Correct.
They have not come with, for instance, displays are not being manufactured in India at all. They display LED and some of these things. They are doing the research. They have set up large facilities. They are looking at India. They have to come to India. There is no option. They have to come to India. But the state where they come would be the state next to Tamil Nadu as the largest electronics state of the country.
Yes, you're right. One last point, a little different. This is more on the research and design aspect. I think even DIT under that there's some scheme under Principal Scientific Advisor's Office. There have been some workshops to identify the major thrust areas, and 6 workshops were supposed to be done, 3 of which have been already done on set-top boxes, smartphones, and tablets, and some more are to happen. There also you're trying to identify a lot of this thing, and even in those 3 conducted workshops, what has emerged is the kind of the display technologies and battery technologies. We have totally fundamental lack of expertise and no knowledge base in India and no research institution. I think the way you are mentioning about science parks and technology parks, but they need to be coming up, in different states on different focuses. And these are the 2 display and battery technologies. Unless we focus on that, we'll not be able to come up with a local indigenous system with all the smart devices which are coming up today.
I couldn't agree more with you. I think India, though of course Government of India is as of now, it has been able to come out with very effective policies. But finally, and Prime Minister announced it in the inaugural of the Indian Science Congress that 1% of the GDP for research, unless Government of India commits large amounts of funds for this kind of research, what he mentioned, display, separate research laboratory, memory, separate research laboratory. It's like that. There has to be commitment of huge funds, and which should get connected with these industries. That would be the place. He said about fab, which of course Government of India is conscious of. You can't have much to do unless you have a fab in the country. So we are moving in this direction. I'm glad that there is such enlightened understanding of the entire thing available already with you all. So any other questions, or we say it's been a great day?
One question from my side is, I'm from Compton Hills. See the facts now, semiconductor complex is the only fabs, I think, in India. And are you projecting, is there any other party who is coming forward to invest in the fabs?
Sorry, Vandana ji, आप बोलेंगी?
सर मैं स्पेसिफिकली तो नाम नहीं ले सकती.
नहीं, आप वो नहीं कर सकते.
In the last session, we had some gentleman from Chennai who was a small industry who was...
Now, what I can say is that Government of India has... See, semiconductor complex is not really much of a fab. So that... that's not really which can be reckoned compared to the fabs which are required. A fab would have an investment of 40,000 crores. And no organization, private organization, can be viable. It is such a long-term return that wherever fabs have come about in the world, they have come about with huge subsidy from the government and support from governments in respect of infrastructure, water, huge water consumption, land, power, very steady power. So all I can tell you is that Government of India is at it, a very bold step. It's not easy for a country to think that they can have a fab set up there because it's a very large investment, low return kind of a thing. But we are at it, and the chances are that sooner or later we would have a fab of the international class.
I'm going to submit on this. These 6 workshops which are conducted under the aegis of this Office of Principal Scientific Advisor of C.G.M, they are aimed at identifying this kind of a business case for what kind of chips could be designed, manufactured under that fab, if I'm not mistaken. But the way things are emerging, okay, I think fab, even if the Government of India is focused to put some funds on the enhancement of electronics industry, it should not be on the fab, rather first build up the rest of the ecosystem. Let's build up a genuine business case, artificial business case creation, and then trying to set up this thing. I think it's not a really very healthy, because we might have a fab and not a business case. The funds, government funds would have gone there, and the industry would be needing the fund where you will not be supporting, industry would not be coming. You have a fab, you have chips, but there are no manufacturing organizations.
Yeah, there are strong views on fab this way and that way, but I suppose it's a chicken and egg kind of thing.
No, I'm not saying no to it, but I'm saying first let us build up a manufacturing base with
today, you see, every country doesn't have a fab today. Yeah. Very few countries have fab, and the wafers are going all over the world for being populated. So ASTM and fab both are required. So anyway, I suppose we have had a good, yes.
Is it on? Yeah. So my name is Harmeet Singh. I come from Punjab Communications Limited. We are a telecom manufacturing PSU. We perhaps are one telecom manufacturing PSU which has survived all the turmoil in the past, and we're still going strong. So you mentioned during the course of your talks today that we need the best brains in the country working on breakthrough ideas, on absolutely state-of-the-art technologies, basically creating innovating on say memories or on absolutely cutting-edge technology. Another very pertinent point you made there was that you don't need people bracketed in a structure. You need free minds to think and create, innovate. In all of these policies from the government side, sir, at least I haven't seen anything which is there to motivate individuals to get into R&D. I mean, what motivates me today? I don't think there's any. I started off as a design engineer, and somewhere along the line, you didn't have the incentive to carry on that. Maybe the Ministry of HRD or some other concerned department can do some thinking on this and create institutions which are not bracketed, which are labs for innovation.
See, the point which I was making all along was that we should be prepared to pay as much as is the market value of a brain. Then only we'll get disruptive innovation.
Absolutely.
The point I tried to make in case of Hsinchu Science Park or in Guangzhou Metropolitan City Photo-Optronics was that governments should be ready to negotiate the price, and it should get...
So we have experiences firsthand in our company also.
In a democratic system, you see, people who are in the government, on the management side, alone know that when they are handling people's money, they have their hands tied, equity, fairness, equitable, and so many other things. They are answerable for everything. They are accountable for, so it's not easy for them to say, I like the face of this gentleman, I'll give him 30 lakhs per month. And I don't like the face of this gentleman, I'll give him 30,000 a month. So that is not so simple, but at least in Indian context, because I don't want to open up a larger debate about the Indian context. But what I'm saying is that some realization of that and some way out has been started. We have, for instance, Mr. P.V. Rao sitting here. Mr. P.V. Rao is principal consultant of state emission teams. He is supporting the state of Andhra, but not recruited on the strength of Andhra Pradesh. Government of India, DET, is spending the money for his salary, which is much higher than me, who's getting the highest salary permitted for any government officer in the country. Today I am at the highest, but he gets more than me. Yeah, so now that is in recognition of his technical expertise. So that is one case in point where government, this is sanctioned by the Government of India, where the secretary, DET, doesn't get as much as Mr. Rao gets. And there are quite a few in now states as well as in the central government who get more than the cabinet secretary. But they are technical people. So what I'm saying is that it's a pointer in a direction. But it's not so simple. We have to, whatever government does, has to be done as per a formula, as per a system, as per something which can explain why you are doing a thing. So here, every state government today has consultants whose annual package is ranging around 15 lakhs, 16 lakhs. And senior consultants who go up to 12, 18 lakhs. And principal consultant could go up to 22 lakhs. I don't know how much but he can go up to 22 lakhs a year. So if he's principal consultant. And he's working under the secretary government of Andhra Pradesh. So this is how it is. The point is valid. I've been crying horse all over the country. I do a lot of speaking like this, and I make this point before everybody that pay for the excellence, otherwise you won't get best brains. You want to develop a sector. What is very simple to understand is that you want to develop electronics manufacturing. The simple answer is I must be able to get the best of Gujarat's brains to get engaged with electronics manufacturing. Do I have wherewithal to would they not go and set up their own startups? Yesterday, on the day of Uttar, I was with a group of young boys who were all flying kites, in Gujarat, they do on the rooftop. Each of them, nobody was more than 30. Each of them was less than 30. Each of them was owning their own startups. Nobody was having a job, doing a job. Because they know that job में 50,000 मिलेगा और मैं कुछ भी करूँगा तो आराम से 2-4 लाख तो कमाऊँगा. साल का 50 लाख प्रॉफिट करना गुजरातियों के लिए बाएं हाथ का काम है. So with that, I think it's time, John, we close. Thank you very much for such a patient hearing, listening to us. Thank you very much.